Since we're talking about Pakistan, Netanyahu has said, we've seen in the past, that he said that a nuclear state is a threat to Israel. Now, today, he has attacked Iran. Do you think that Pakistan could be next?
Pakistan is a very hard nut to crack. It's a declared nuclear power with the nearly 200 nuclear warheads, sophisticated missiles technology, and what Pakistan has not made public, but I know it for last 20 years, and I can make it public now. Pakistan has an intercontinental missiles, which can go to Israel and hit its nuclear program altogether. So therefore, the tactics and the methods of Israel on Pakistan would be altogether different. For Israel, Pakistan is the biggest enemy, but they are not making it public. Their entire orientation of the military is not only Palestinian specific or Iran specific, but also Pakistan specific. They know it that once Iran's resistance is over, next is going to be Pakistan. From their perspective, it is a matter of time when a right-wing leadership emerges in Pakistan, and it may become as hostile to Israel as the current Iranian regime is. So Israel feels that it is going to be an Islamic bloc of Afghanistan, Pakistan, and Iran. So Pakistan's policymakers do believe in that, and they did witness that evidence during just recently concluded war between India and Pakistan. Israeli weapons were there. I believe that, God forbid, if something happens to Pakistan, Turkey is going to be the next. For Israel, it's Iran, it is Pakistan, it's Turkey. They are their targets. The very first resistance, which is Iran, is going to offer them so much resistance. I don't think that Israel would be able to go to their other targets like Turkey and Pakistan. So in a broader context, there has been a problem. There has been a tiny lobby within Pakistan which has been secretly advocating. They don't have the courage to say it publicly that Pakistan should normalize ties with Israel. I think so many attempts have been made in the past, and now in this given situation when there has been a genocide and ethnic cleansing of Palestinians, it is now next to impossible. But I think there is also realization within our policymakers, and they know that along with India, it is Israel which is Pakistan's enemy.
Javed, yesterday we were seeing that the Iranian parliament was drafting a bill to, leave the NPT, the non-proliferation treaty. What can we expect from such a move, Javed?
I think underlying impression and underlying optics that right now Tehran is trying to create is trying to send a message to the West, more particularly to Israel and USA, that Iran can come out of non-proliferation treaty, the NPT, which means that Iran would not be under any obligation if it carries out any nuclear test or if it goes for any nuclear activities which under the IAEA laws and regulations was previously banned. My understanding is this is more like a gamble. Iran may or may not have nuclear weapons, the possibility of which is that it doesn't have a weapon. All the reports which we have seen in the past from different international intelligence networks that do suggest that Iran was close to manufacturing nuclear warheads. But I think there is no credible report suggesting that Iran was possessing nuclear weapons. So I think that is an indicator towards that direction. Iran is trying to basically gamble on a situation where it wants to create optics that it has nuclear weapons and it can use it against Israel. And I think that is the reason that we are seeing the similar activities going on in the Iranian parliament.
Javed, these are activities that we saw in, previous decades as well, how the United States targeted Iraq by saying that Iraq possesses weapons of mass destruction. And now, Israel has also said that Iran intends to provide nuclear weapons to the Houthis, which is baseless. These things are, there are no facts or statistics behind such statements. But Javed, I want to ask you about the American reaction, because, we've been seeing that the U.S. has repositioned its military assets. For example, the USS Nimitz and Carl Vinson, these warships have been moved to the Middle East. So what sort of reaction can we expect from countries in the Middle East and from the wider region?
I think United States has brought its pressure tactics to the tipping point. I think 2 or 3 months ago, they brought 52 bombers, and these bombers were based at some Indian oceans, some bases in the Indian Oceans, and that was also a pressure tactic, which suggesting that USA may use 52 bombers to basically dismantle Iran's nuclear program. And then at the same time, US was opening up the negotiations successfully with Iran. And I think now, since Iran is already under apartheid state, Israel's aggression, we have witnessed that the pressure tactics have changed. Its form have further changed. It has further intensified. I think with these warships in the region, again, it is an attempt to bring Iran under further pressure to go for a negotiated settlement. And by a negotiated settlement, it means to surrender its nuclear program altogether. So far, apartheid Israel has damaged Iran's nuclear installations, Iran's nuclear sites, but it has not completely dismantle Iran's nuclear program, which means it has delayed the Iran's ability to manufacture nuclear warheads, and it has not altogether eliminated the very ability of Iran to manufacture nuclear warheads and then go for some kind of a enrichment at a higher level. So I think in that context, these pressure tactics are being used. My understanding is that USA is still reluctant to launch a massive attack on Iran. Just a couple of minutes ago, before this particular interview, I was hearing Iranian official spokesman, and he was giving warning that if the Americans get involved in this war, there would be full-scale war in the region. And he was clearly reluctant to point out that will Iran attack at the military bases of USA in the Gulf region, and indirectly he was hinting on that this war would not only would engulf this entire region, but also it would go beyond it. So all I'm saying is that Iran is basically in a very bad position, but at the same time we have to see the reality on ground that at a time when there is no outside help to Iran, at least there is no tangible, visible, meaningful help coming to Iran from anywhere from the world. I have not seen any evidence where Russia would be providing or supplying weapons. I have not seen any evidence that China is providing any help. I think Iran is largely dependent onto its missiles technology, more particularly on ballistic missiles technology. And so far, it has fired more than 400 missiles attacks inside apartheid Israel. And I think the kind of the damage that it has caused in Israel, that is also creating very tough conditions for people inside apartheid state. So I think it is not that easy for the apartheid state to sustain this war. So the very reason that Americans are putting a lot of pressures, basically, and then this pressure is also now coming from many of the European countries so far, so-called G7 club. That is essentially an indicator that Iran would surrender. I don't think that is a likely scenario. Going by the history of Iran, Iran has only conceded to the genuine Islamic revolution when Islam was revived 14 centuries ago, when the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, came. And I think from there onwards, Iran not has accepted hegemony of any other non-Muslim, any other any other nation. So I think in a broader context, given the fact that the Iran's territorial depth is huge, Israel, it is a bigger, 72 times bigger than the size of apartheid Israel. It has the capacity to sustain a war. Also, given the fact that Iran has stored, if not tens of thousands, then at least thousands of the missiles in different locations in the mountainous regions, I think they can continue this war. So Iran's nuclear program has already been compromised. Israel may dismantle it in days to come. But expecting that there would be regime change operation in Tehran, I think probably I would say the apartheid Israel and its Zionist extremist fascist leaders, they are living in fool's paradise. That is the most unlikely to happen.
Javed, just very briefly, tell me about the G7 statement. The G7 stated that Israel has the right to defend itself. And, these sort of statements are, statements that we've already expected, and we know how the West reacts when it comes to Israel. And also tell me about when Trump said that they're going to, look for something that's bigger than a ceasefire. So what do these statements clarify?
I think this G7 countries, when they say that Israel has right to defend itself, I don't understand why Iran doesn't have that right to defend itself when it came under Israel's aggression, because there was no ultimatum of war. This is, again, a deviation from the international law. What Donald Trump has said, that he's looking for something beyond ceasefire. Basically, he wants a permanent solution, and that solution includes that there would be zero enrichment. And that is something Iranians are not going to accept. So I don't foresee any scenario where Iran would be surrendering its nuclear program altogether. I think that is that is the clear agenda of the President Donald Trump. The Jewish lobby in Washington is putting a lot of pressure on him to go for a war. But I think Donald Trump does understand that means that it's tens of thousands of soldiers, at least 40 to 50,000 soldiers, and it's all military bases in the Gulf region could possibly come under attack.
The growing tide of anti-Israel sentiments. What you see behind me is just tip of the iceberg of what is happening in the country. More than half of $52 billion black CIA budget is spent on espionage network in Pakistan. How would you handle it?
The US has looked upon Pakistan as an ally at one point and then as an enemy at the same time.
That is going to be the first legal reason on the basis of which he is going to be instantly ousted by the Supreme Court of Pakistan.
Joining us live, Javed Rana, who's an expert on politics and geo-strategic issues.
In the world politics, which is not being driven by any moral principle, it is being driven by the hard geo-strategic realities. In a broader picture, more countries would aspire to have nuclear weapons.